Hi, I'm Faith Pinot from LA Times Studios in Washington, D.C. Here are some of today's top stories from the Los Angeles Times. President Trump is in Pennsylvania Tuesday, defending his record on making America more affordable. Trump stopped in Scranton in the northeastern part of the state before onto a rally in Mount Pocono. That stands in a battleground congressional district. But many Americans don't see America as being affordable. A recent Politico poll found that 37% of surveyed 2024 Trump voters say the cost of living is the worst they can ever remember it being. Earlier in the day, President Trump said this in a Politico interview.
I inherited a total mess. Prices were at an all-time high when I came in. Prices are coming down substantially. Look at energy. You and I discussed before the interview, energy. Energy has come down incredibly. When energy comes down, everything, because it's so much bigger than any other subject.
On paper, the economy is holding up. Markets are up and growth is steady. But millions of Americans still feel that housing, food, and basic utilities are eating up their paychecks. Still, the Trump administration says relief is on the way, pointing to planned investments in AI and manufacturing in the new year. And new details in the Epstein investigations could go public in the coming days after a federal judge in New York approved the Justice Department's request to unseal key documents from a 2021 sex trafficking case against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime companion who's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence. The judge ruled Tuesday that prosecutors can unseal grand jury material and other investigative files, just weeks after Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which requires the DOJ to publicly release all records tied to the late financier by December 19th. Multiple judges had previously refused the DOJ's unusual request to unseal grand jury transcripts, but a second judge in Florida approved an appeal last week, meaning the public could see hundreds or even thousands of documents that had been kept secret since early investigations into Epstein in the early 2000s. AP reporter Mike Sisak is in New York with more about what we can expect in the coming weeks.
Now, we are still waiting for a third judge, Richard Berman, working in the building behind me here in Manhattan Federal Court, to rule on a request from the Justice Department to release files related to Epstein's 2019 sex trafficking case. Now, Epstein was arrested in 2019 in July. He killed himself in jail a month later, stalling that case and that investigation.
The DOJ says it's working with survivors in plans to redact records in an effort to protect identities and remove sexualized images. Also, Nvidia shares are falling today, but the explanation for that drop is still unclear. President Trump announced Monday that Nvidia, which is headquartered in Santa Clara, California, would be able to sell its H200 AI chips to approved customers in China. The U.S. government will reportedly get a 25% cut of their sales. Trump posted on Truth Social that President Xi Jinping responded positively to the news. Some Democratic senators, however, are criticizing Nvidia's approval to sell technology to China, saying in part access to these chips would give China's military transformational technology to make its weapons more lethal and to carry out more effective cyber attacks. Meanwhile, President Trump says the U.S. Commerce Department is finalizing details for other chip makers to sell their technology overseas. In Washington, D.C., day one of meetings for the Federal Reserve came and went in their last gathering of the year. Many are expecting the Fed to lower interest rates, or as the Financial Times put it, expect a quarter-point rate cut and a lot of ambiguity over what happens next. It would be the Fed's third straight reduction in interest rates this year. We'll have a bigger update for you Wednesday when the Fed makes their decision. And we'll see if that news by the Fed is affected by October job numbers, which were released Tuesday after being delayed by the recent government shutdown. Layoffs grew almost 1.9 million, the most since January of 2023, and employers posted more than 7 million job vacancies, which is close to the same number of open jobs we saw in September. And back in Los Angeles, drivers know that finding street parking can feel, at times, like an Olympic sport. And in recent years, it's only gotten more competitive. Times reporter Karen Garcia looked into the issue and found one man who's curbing the injustice. Joey Morales is a working dad by day and a street parking defender by night. It all started in a bid to reclaim the last remaining spot on his block, moving an orange cone placed not by a construction crew, but by his neighbors. He documented the late-night act on TikTok, saying it was just for giggles. But the simple act of defiance blew up. He now has more than 21,000 followers and is known as the Cone King. In LA, it's illegal to claim street spaces without a permit. Streets LA, a division of the city's Public Works Department, responded to more than 400,000 obstruction complaints last year. But LAPD won't show up unless a fight breaks out. So Morales took matters into his own hands, literally, responding to tips on social media and driving through neighborhoods to clear blocked spaces.
Putting concrete inside of cones is crazy. Hey, cone community, if you guys are running over cones, be careful. They're starting to put concrete inside of them.
Dressed in a bright yellow reflective vest, he scoops up the placeholder cones and tosses them in the back of his Ford SUV, either giving them back to construction crews or to the city. It's his own way of calling out a long-running problem in LA. Stepping back, experts at UCLA say the root issue is simple: too many cars and poor city planning. Their solution? Charge for it or create permit zones. But that's a tough sell for residents who don't want to have to pay for parking. For them, Joey Morales is offering a small moment of justice, one cone at a time. And our very own Shohei Ohtani isn't really surprising anyone by getting the title of Associated Press Male Athlete of the Year. This year, Ohtani was NL MVP and, of course, a World Series champion. He hit 55 homers and pitched in 47 innings, where he struck out 62 hitters. It's Ohtani's fourth time winning the award from the AP, tying him with the likes of LeBron James, Tiger Woods, and Lance Armstrong. And Ohtani said that winning the award multiple times is something truly special.
思うので、今おっしゃってもらった数々の名選手たち、去年もう一回取りたいって言いましたけど、今年来年もまた取れるように頑張りたいなと思います。
Oh, and one more bit of good news for Dodgers fans, ending on a high note. They've agreed to sign Edwin Diaz, one of the best closers in baseball, to a 3-year, $69 million deal, according to ESPN. That's it for today's headlines. To read these stories and more, be sure to subscribe to the LA Times.